very far away from the Dortmund team that we see now in terms of the balance that they now have got and the quality. They've only lost 2 games all season. One of them away to Atletico, and they've looked very, very good. So I just get the sense that over 2 legs, I think Dortmund might just have a little bit too much. But this is a big contingent on Marco Reus playing. He's got a bit of an injury scare. Without him, I think it might move back into Spurs' favour ever so slightly.
How do you think, with the fact that Dortmund, are going for the league title first since 2012? So do you think Champions League, they'll play the stronger side? Obviously, it's a massive game for them in Europe. But do you think maybe they'll have an eye on the league campaign because the 7 points clear? They're very close, possibly to winning that title. So
no, they won't rest anyone. It's the Champions League is massive for them. They got knocked out in the cup, so they have enough depth. There are 1 or 2 problems in defence, but they will not rest anyone with a view to the league. It's not how they're thinking. For them, the Champions League is just as important as winning the league.
Yeah, of course. And also, Jadon Sancho, obviously, it's going to be his first match in England, I believe. Not as a club player for Dortmund, so it'd be quite interesting. You'd expect all the eyes to be on him. A lot of focus. He's obviously had an excellent season. But we all know how the reaction's been in England. Everyone's so excited, and his moves kind of caused a lot of other young players to want to go and play them in Germany. But what's the reaction been like in Germany? I mean, is he loved? Is there a lot of attention on him, or is it kind of different because he's an English player and he's not, a homegrown player in Germany? So how's it being judged there?
There's definitely a bit of a buzz and a bit of a hype around him. It'd be bigger if he was German, but at the same time, I think there's a sense of novelty that this is a young English guy. We haven't seen that many in the Premier League in recent years, if ever.
Yeah.
And I think the Bundesliga and Dortmund in particular feel quite proud and sort of pleased with themselves that they got one of England's hottest players playing in the league and playing so well for Dortmund. So it is he has been a bit of a sensation, and he's had a great impact on the pitch, and because his story is interesting, I think he's also created a lot of headlines, and now possibly seen as a bit of a pioneer, because all of a sudden other German clubs want English players, and other English players now perhaps are thinking about going to other German clubs. So he's opened a lot of doors in both ways. Yeah,
he certainly had a great impact. Also, do you have possibly a thought on Dortmund fans, how they see him? Are they really in love with a player like him? Do they see him as another one going on that conveyor belt, a bit like Ousmane Dembele? Do you see him going on that? Do you think they see him as a similar path? Is it like a business model, or are they just think he could be there for years to come?
I think Dortmund fans are quite realistic about the club's business model, which does entail buying players fairly cheaply and then selling them on for a huge profit. And I think the day will come where Sancho will move on, wherever on is, for a lot of money. So they're realistic about it. As long as you don't become a distraction in the dressing room, or lie to the fans, or behave in an unprofessional way, there really is no problem. Whether they will really love them or not will just depend on how things develop. But of course, as you'd expect, they're kind of more in love with players who've been there forever, and I like to just stick around, like a Marco Reus, for example. So that's just
of course.
Expected, really.
He's still in the start of his career. He could do big things there. Just going on to, obviously, the Schalke City game, not this week, but the week after the first leg. Schalke obviously struggling a bit this season, but I've got some good results recently. City being one of the favourites of the Champions League. Is that just a foregone conclusion, that tie, or can you see Schalke causing an upset?
I think it is a foregone conclusion. Unfortunately, I just don't see Schalke being able to compete with City. City has too much. Everyone wanted everyone wanted that draw from the winners. Everyone wanted Schalke.
Yeah.
And I think City is a team that nobody really wanted to play against, one of the absolute favourites for winning the competition. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a mismatch. I mean, Schalke are not bad defensively. They don't concede a lot of goals, but I think it'll be almost impossible for them to go through, and I think they're quite realistic about their chances.
Yeah, and then the Liverpool-Bayern game, which is probably the most exciting one, although you could argue the Spurs-Dortmund game was even more. Klopp against his old nemesis, Bayern, who he beat to 2 league titles, but then also was being in the Champions League final. How would you compare his Liverpool team that he's got now to the Dortmund team? How would you just assess how he's done so far in England? Did you expect his team to challenge for a league title? So how would you compare that team firstly?
I think there are similarities, but there are also obviously differences. The similarities are that the City has the same sense of excitement, and there is a bit of the underdog factor play as well here. I think Liverpool didn't quite expect so close to being able to challenge and so close to winning the title. The difference is, of course, that you have this long, unfulfilled desire for winning the championship, and maybe a bit of additional pressure that comes with it. At the same time, maybe a certain nervousness inside the stadium where people are very quick to fear that the worst might happen and that things might go according to plan. So these things weren't there when he was at Dortmund. Dortmund had been very poor before he took over, but they had won the championship as recently as 2002, so the dynamic was very different. And also this was a very young team, so whatever they were doing, no one would take it badly or be disappointed if it wasn't. If it didn't end up in them winning the league. So it's a bit different, but then he also has a much better side. I mean, the 2010-11 Dortmund team were really not very good, and you can't compare them to a Liverpool team that went to the Champions League final, and I think will be once again really tough to beat this year in Europe. So it's similar in the sense that I think he's trying to manage the dynamic and try to get people to focus only on each game as it comes, but I think it's more difficult because of the history and the anxiety that surrounds the club at Liverpool.
Yeah, so when that draw came out, obviously Bayern heavyweight coming up against Liverpool, how was the reaction in Germany? Because Bayern Munich had been one of the best teams in Europe over the last 10 years, 15 years, but coming up against a Liverpool team who got to the final last year, there must have been a bit of some nervousness. There probably still is now. Who would you say, who's the favourites going into that tie?
Well, when the draw was made, I had Liverpool as slight favourites, and I think the situation hasn't really changed. I think a lot of people see it that way. I think maybe even Bayern see it that way, although they won't admit to it. Liverpool, because the way they play, are a bit of a nightmare for many big European teams.
Yeah.
The top teams in Europe like to have the ball, their possession side, they like to go forward, and running into counter-attacking machine that is Liverpool is just not very pleasant. So I think that Bayern's weaknesses and Liverpool's strength kind of match up almost completely, which is a problem for Bayern. At the same time, Bayern has a lot of really good players, and I think it's sometimes perhaps not appreciated that this is a team that, for all its problems, has a lot of firepower, a lot of know-how, a lot of depth. They have almost no injuries. with the possible exception of Manuel Neuer, but I think he'll be fine as well. You compared it to Liverpool, who are really struggling at the back and who won't be without Van Dijk.
Of course,
and,
yeah.
Bayern will feel that they can maybe do it, but my personal view is that over the two legs, I think Liverpool have just a little bit too much for them.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that with the Bayern maybe going in as underdogs. How important is this summer for Bayern Munich? You know, this phase, it feels that Bayern Munich side's been together for so long, and it does need someone to break it up. And you've seen the announcement of Pavard coming in and the links with Hudson-Odoi. Do you see them now evolving as a team, moving on to that next generation, possibly becoming a force again? I know they're still a very good team with some great players, but it does feel like now is a good time to just bring in a bit of youth and possibly become a better team in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it was always going to happen. I think they maybe underestimated the problems a little bit this summer. They could have freshened things up a bit more. They were hoping that Niko Kovac, the new manager, would provide a boost. It hasn't really worked out that way. And they ended up with a good squad, with a decent coach, but just a little bit missing, I think, in many areas. And they might have even been able to get away with it if it hadn't been for such a consistent Dortmund team, which just don't drop any points apart from the one game they lost against Düsseldorf of all teams. So the transition had been coming. It has already started, and you'll see just more of that in a more sort of dramatic fashion next year when Robin and Ribery will finally call it a day at Bayern, when I think maybe one of the two centre-backs, Hummels or Boateng, might leave, when Raphinha will probably be gone, when there's still a question mark over Lewandowski's future. So it will be a new Bayern emerging, but this is, I think, sometimes wrongly portrayed as an aging team. The team is not aging. You're talking about 2 or 3 players. The rest of the team, the nucleus of the team, is a very good age. Whether you look at Kimmich or Thiago or Süle or Goretzka or Tolisso or the new white players that they have. So this is not really a team that is too old, but it's a team that it's just going to look different because you'll have at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 big players of the last 5 or 6 years or so leaving, and maybe the manager too. Who knows? I think a lot will ride on how Bayern emerge from the Champions League campaign. If they get embarrassed by Liverpool, if Kovac is showing up a little bit tactically, then I think it'll be very, very difficult for him to keep his job.
Of course, very interesting, that tie. So also on Hudson-Odoi, he was linked very strongly with Bayern Munich in January, and it sort of feels like that's been put on the back burner and probably come again in the summer. It seems like that transfer, he seems to want to go, and Chelsea were just kind of not allowing him in January, but it feels like in the summer that will happen. Do you agree with that?
I think it'll happen in the summer. I mean, until Chelsea and Bayern agree a deal, then of course it can still fall through. There is still a possibility that he might change his mind, that Sarri gives him so much game time, Chelsea gives him such a good deal that he changes his mind and says, you know what, I don't have to go anymore. But I think the commitment from Bayern towards him is very strong. They're obviously working on the basis that he really wants to go. And then it comes down to Chelsea making a decision. Do we push this all the way, even if we risk losing the player for nothing if he runs down his contract? Or are we saying, okay, this is as much as we could have done to keep him, he doesn't want to stay, now we need the money to buy someone else, here's the price. I still think that the second scenario is the most likely outcome.
Okay, and then just finally, just a few German managers. One being Jan Siewert. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. He's moved. He's moved 36-year-old, moved to Huddersfield. Obviously, he's in England, a bit like when David Wagner came. Not much was known about them both. Both managed at Dortmund. Same as Daniel Fark, who's doing fantastically at Norwich this season. So, what's that trend? It just seems to be that these managers who've managed the Dortmund second team have come to England. I mean, how do you see him going at Huddersfield? Obviously, relegation is almost guaranteed, but possibly being there next season. Just how amazing is this kind of trend? I mean, how do you see him doing at Huddersfield, firstly?
Yeah, I mean, I think for Huddersfield, it was a bit of an obvious choice. You're basically relying on Dortmund having done your due diligence for you and being good at identifying managers, and you're just thinking, well, if he's the manager of the Dortmund second team, then he must be very good. But I'm not 100% sure that this is always true.
Yeah.
Wagner obviously had a special talent. I think Farke is a very different type of manager in terms of football. Has also shown himself to be very able. With Jan Siewert, it might work out, but he obviously has the most difficult start of all of them, because the big difference if you go from Dortmund to the Championship, or if you go from Dortmund to managing a team that is really doomed in the Premier League, and then you're basically presiding over defeat after defeat every single week. It's going to be, even if they're realistic about going down, it's not going to be pleasant, not going to be much fun. Being all but certain to go down in due course, and then you have to bounce back from that. So I'm just not 100% sure that was the right idea. I'm not 100% sure that Huddersfield has done him any favours, because he'll always be compared to Wagner. But I can understand why there is an attraction for that type of manager, because they come from a place where they work with young people, where they're used to coaching teams and players, where they will not ask for lots of new signing, lots of money to spend. It's a very different type of mentality, and I think if you are a club of Huddersfield's resources, you have to be realistic of what you can do in the transfer market. A coach who sees himself as a coach first and foremost, rather than someone who's buying lots of players, is obviously exactly what they want. So I can see sort of the structural reason for the appeal of that type of manager, but I'm just a bit worried that Huddersfield have just gone for the very, very obvious choice and are just relying on history to repeat itself, and I'm not sure that is necessarily the correct course of action.
Thank you.